And broadcasting from the Teddy Belanger studio in Rome, New York. Welcome into episode 72 of the Avetts and Beyond. My name's Todd Emanuele. Very special guest joining me today for the second time, but for the first time all by himself. The captain himself, Jack Poynor, is here. Hello, Jack. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
No problem. We had slight technical difficulties getting this started today. No one would have ever known if I didn't open my big mouth, but Zoom. I don't have my producer here this week. Ryan's off gallivanting in Texas somewhere near you, actually. Uh,
Yes,
could not join me for the show this week, so we're zooming it up. And of course, there's technical problems.
that's all right.
It's all good. You're here
Weird.
now. We got it going, and you've been a very busy guy lately, and I thought this would be an interesting conversation to have tonight about all the traveling you've been doing, all the Avid shows and other shows that you've been to, a big wedding that you were just at that you had to travel for as well. Your frequent flyer miles must be like through the roof.
Well, actually, we drive a lot too.
Oh,
So
dude. Okay.
we have our oil changed quite often and have our tires rotated quite a bit, just so that we know that we're safely on the road and
Do you
can
at
get
least
to
get
the next
discounts on that
destination.
stuff?
What's that?
Do you get discounts for that stuff with all the traveling you do?
No, I should
No.
though.
You should definitely. There should be like a frequent oil change club or something along the way.
Yeah.
So tell
Well,
me about where you guys have been. Yeah, you've been everywhere.
yeah. So my recent travel. I'll first disclose that, and a lot of people will confirm this. I said I can't make it to Red Rocks this year. My daughter is getting married. Even though she lives in Colorado, the timing just didn't quite, line up just right. But then it kind of came up that we needed to go to her little corner, which is the southwest corner of Colorado, to visit the venue where she was getting married and work things out with the wedding planner and that type of thing.
Yeah,
And of course, my daughter can't get married in just like any kind of regular old church or anything. Being a girl, a mountain girl, she has to get married in the mountains.
okay.
And not just in the mountains, but like basically got a four-wheel drive to get there. So she goes,
Really?
we can really use your truck, your 4Runner. So why don't y'all drive out here and we'll go, check out the wedding venue. And I said, okay, well, if we're going to do all that, let's arrange it around, some Avid activity. Um, so even though we said, no, we're not going to go, we want to, go into Red Rocks and then we go, while we're out there, we might as well throw Taos in there too. But basically we drove out to her place in Ouray, Colorado, where she's getting married. They live in Ridgeway, getting married in Ouray. And so we did our thing with the wedding planner, got comfortable with the venue and everything that was going on. But then we went from there to Taos to see the Avid Brothers show there. And it was such a last minute deal. We didn't really get great tickets. We were on the rail, but it was the second rail in the tier 2 seating section. So I got to see all my friends walk right by me all night and say, "What are you doing back there?" I'm like, "Well, late, we got tickets late." So but it was nice for them to walk by because I couldn't get to the garbage can that was in the tier 1 section. So as I was drinking my beers and had empty glasses, or cups, I would hand them to people that I knew walking by. Could you please throw that away for me? I think Bella Burney threw away one of my beer cups for me when she walked by, since we had seen them the night before.
I
Uh,
forgot they were there too. That's right.
yeah. Um, and
Wait,
so of
no,
course
Bella's only 14 years old. Why are you giving her beer?
it was an
Throw
empty
away.
cup, empty cup.
That's good.
And but the thing that was good part is that we were backed by the soundboard, even though soundboard was in tier 1. We were able to see Pete and wave to him, and he was nice enough to come around and come into the tier 2 section so he could say hi.
Oh, that's cool.
Um,
Speaking of Pete, you've got.
yeah,
We can get back to your travel stories here
sure.
in a sec. But you mentioned Pete, and behind you on the wall, for those watching on the YouTube, is a painting that is very familiar to those that know Pete and his work. Of course, he's been on the show before and talked all about it. I don't know if he showed this one on the show, Was this one
Actually,
already?
it was in the
It
background.
was, wasn't it? That's
It
right.
was his backdrop. Yeah, it was behind him the whole time.
It's funny that
And that's why you should get a commission because I'm like, I like that painting. I think I'm going to buy that.
yeah,
And
tell Pete that. I don't think he'll go for that. You put a lot of heart and soul into that, but it's fun. I thought it looked like familiar from a background, and it was his background. So the painting's second appearance on the
yes.
Avetts and Beyond. How about that?
And actually, this painting was a participant in one of my Avid adventures since it's a 4 foot by 5 foot painting. It's very big, difficult to ship. And considering we like to drive to a lot of shows and we drive to North Carolina quite a bit. And so I'm like, well, they're playing the Love and Life Festival, and I think it was May 7th or May 6th or something. And I said, well, I'll be glad to drive out there and just pick it up from you.
You picked it up at his house, right?
I picked it up at his house in his studio.
That's
Second time I've been to a studio, I picked up a couple other paintings that were maybe 4 foot by 3 foot or so, a little bit smaller than this one.
yeah. Having your car with you for something like that's a good thing because you
Yes.
can't get that back on an airplane.
No, no. And so that's the reason we do these trips with the car, just because if we have something like that going on, it's just handy to have your own car and
To support your art addiction.
correct. Yes. But it's funny though, because the first time I went to Pete's house to get the paintings was from it's like a rescheduled New Year's Eve show
Yeah.
that didn't happen. I think 2022 maybe. I'm not sure. I forget what year. And so they rescheduled it in March. So it really wasn't an NYE show. And but it was in Greensboro, and Pete lives, pretty close to the Greensboro Coliseum. So the next day after the show, we just went to his house, and first I wasn't sure is this the right place, and then I got out of the car, and there's lights everywhere, and I look up in the trees, and I see disco balls hanging in the trees. So I
Yeah.
pretty much knew I was in the right place at that point.
Were there skeletons around as well?
No, no. But he was having some speaking of our technical difficulties, he had technical difficulties as well because he was getting ready to watch the first Formula One racing event of the year because he's a Formula One racing fan and he does streaming TV and it wasn't working correctly and he looked around for a while and eventually he says, "We have what we call in my business an air gap," and he held up the plug and said, "Plug here, plug, outlet over there." And then he plugged it in.
It
So
worked. Hey, look at that.
yeah, I think the cats had knocked it out of
Uh,
his cats had knocked it out. So
you don't think to check the plug in a situation like that, I guess.
no, no.
That's pretty funny. So,
So yeah, I've had a few adventures that involve Pete and his paintings. I love his artwork, and
oh, it's
it's
incredible.
always great to get a set list from him. And the characters in his painting are basically look like they jumped right off his set list. And
I love it. I love it. Now I feel it's like I have this in with him now. I'm friendly with him enough that any show I go to, I'm going to reach out and try to get his set list if I reach out early enough. So
yeah,
that's kind of exciting. Like two of the three shows I've been to, I have his set list for, and we got one Joe's set list tossed to my daughter at the other show. So we've got a set list at every show. And I love that I have this connection with Pete that I may be able to get it if I ask him early enough every single time. So Pete's
yeah,
such a nice guy. He's such a great
he
guy.
is. He's awesome.
How many paintings overall do you have? Speaking of your art addiction that you have, okay, do you have a
Oh.
count? Like, do you have a tick sheet of how many you have? Because you have a lot of David Childers stuff. Uh,
Yeah, I should. I should just sit down and inventory them someday.
right?
Um, I mean, I don't. I have at least over probably 10 or so of Pete's paintings, maybe more.
You had to buy another house to
Well, I
have more
did.
walls.
That's where I am right now. I'm out in our little country place, which is halfway between Houston and Dallas. So
You call it the little country place. Is it
yeah,
like really out in the middle of nowhere out there?
pretty much. Yeah, yeah. It's a little 1,200 square foot house with 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, but it's kind of like a fancy cabin. It's nicely air conditioned, which is nice because it's hotter than heck down here. So
I imagine that's great. Then the
yeah,
dog.
so I'm putting artwork up on the walls here too. So I have some more walls to put stuff on, and I always have to ask permission though from the wife first. So
Do you still have to ask permission, or is she just know you're gonna buy them anyway?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's the right thing to do. That's the right thing.
But I do have a lot of David's artwork as well. And another guy that you might be familiar with, Abe Partridge. I have some of his stuff.
Oh, I didn't realize he
Um,
painted too.
what's that?
He
Yeah,
paints.
he painted.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Actually, like, because I know you like the Red Clay Strays, and
Oh God, I
he
love.
has that side project where he actually is in a punk band with three members of the Red Clay Strays because they're all from Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah.
And recently they had their like a on their new album release at the indie record store, they had like an artwork, a poster of, a poster with artwork on it that Abe had done that was given out.
No kidding.
Yeah. So he's done stuff for Tyler Childers, I think. So he's pretty known in the art community as
Oh, I'm
well as,
gonna be looking up his art stuff. I guess I must have seen some of it before.
yeah, you
A lot
might
of stuff
have.
blends in my mind, but that's awesome. And his tie with the Red Clay Strays. I wanted to talk about them a little bit tonight. Them and the Bernie sisters and all this stuff that's like all tied together now down there in Alabama. Like they're in Huntsville, the Bernie sisters living. Well,
Yeah.
they really haven't been there much since they started touring after they moved down there. But the Red Clay Strays recorded that new album in Huntsville. I just found out yesterday that, and I was talking to April about it. I said, "You guys got to try to hook up with these guys and do a show or something to open for them or something."
Yeah.
I said, they recorded that new album in Huntsville. She had no idea. She's like, "You're kidding me." So that's a cool connection that could come. Something could come of that. I hope something comes of that. If
Yeah.
they're out wandering the streets of Huntsville someday. But I just thought of that yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, whoa,
I did not realize that that was in Huntsville, so that's interesting to know.
yeah, the guy that's the producer was uh Chris Stapleton's producer, I believe. They're the same.
Yeah.
They work with all
Oh,
those, and there's someone else too that he works with. But they recorded it at his house, like it
yeah.
was a live recording, like they did it in one take. And that album, I don't know if you've listened to it yet, is phenomenal.
Yes, it's a very good album.
Really, really good.
They
Uh,
put out good stuff.
and that so Abe Partridge has a side project. Tell me more about this side project that you were
Yeah,
telling me about it
so
before, but it's like a punk thing.
yeah, it's called the Psych Peas. Because I've been to like home concerts with Abe
Right.
and talked to him about it, and I actually bought the CD. You can't find it streaming anywhere.
Okay, that was my next question.
Yeah, and so it's him and three members. It's and I don't know their names because but it's the drummer, bass player, and guitar player from Red Clay Strays. That not the singer from Red Clay Strays, but the other guitar player. And then Abe is like kind of a guitar player and lead vocalist, and it's all punk type music. Um, and they've been. You can find videos online on YouTube from back as 5 years ago, far back as 5 years ago.
Wow,
And every now and then, when they're all both like, I guess not touring, and they happen to be in Mobile, they might get together and do like a local show just in Mobile.
that's cool.
And it's like totally different than anything Clay Strays would ever put out. So
I can imagine.
some of it's kind of got a little bit Rage Against the Machine vibe to it. So it's totally different.
So you can find videos on YouTube, but the music is not streaming anywhere.
Right. You could, but I think you might be able to buy the CD
Oh,
possibly and or the vinyl. I think there may be a vinyl of it too as well on Abe Partridge's website. So, and
like
Abe is also really close friends with David Childers, friend of the show here too.
right.
And they tour together and play some dates together, usually North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, maybe those areas. So it all gets connected. We're,
Yeah,
everything connects back to the Avery Brothers
it
world.
really does. And I wonder if the Red Clay Strays have any connection to the Avetts, like if they're inspired at all by them. I always wonder about this kind of stuff because it seems like everything that I get into musically all goes back to them somehow. It all started with them with this whole show that I'm
Yeah,
doing and all this stuff, but everything, like you said, everything seems to be connected somehow, some way.
no.
Uh, I love that. I absolutely love that. But the Red Clay Stray, I don't know how I'm like so obsessed with them right now. It's ridiculous. Their lead singer is like 6'6". He's a huge guy.
Yeah.
But he reminds me of Elvis. Do
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
that vibe from him? Like
Yeah. A little
there's
bit. Yeah.
there's like a Leonard Skinner slash Elvis slash like all this. Just their sound is so cool. It's so different. I just love it. Anyway, that's enough of
Yeah.
the Red Clays. I give them enough airtime on your show here tonight. So Avits, you have more concerts coming up.
Yes. Yeah. So I think we left off. I was in
Yeah, your
Taos. Of
travels, right? Yeah.
course, we did the Red Rocks 3 nights. I've now seen 14 shows at Red Rocks.
Nice, man.
Would have seen more because of our daughter went to school in the area at Golden, Colorado, at Colorado School of Mines. She went there all 4 years of her college career, graduated from there. But we would go to shows. We would never really go all 3 nights a lot of times because she doesn't want to go 3 nights. So we do other stuff. We might go one night here or there. So otherwise, we could have probably gotten a few more shows in there over the years, but
So it's all her
14
fault
still,
that you haven't seen them more. Nice. That's
yeah. And Texas is the second. Like I've seen them here 8 times. So
that
it's
makes
funny
sense.
how my home state's not even where I've seen them the most. But
So
um,
is Red Rocks where you've seen them the most?
yes,
That is.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, 14 times. Yeah,
How many times have you seen them in New York?
I have seen them 3 times in Brooklyn. I
Okay.
think a
Oh,
3 night
right.
run in Brooklyn. Yeah.
That's right. That counts as New York, I guess. I meant upstate.
Oh, okay. I haven't been there yet. Maybe someday.
You
Someday
got
though.
to get up here. You got to get up here.
But we are getting ready to do a 4 show run up to the Midwest. We lived about 8 or 9 years or 7 or 8 years maybe in Columbus, Ohio area.
Okay.
Still have friends up there, so we're gonna head up to the show in Columbus on the 20th of this month, and then the following night they're playing in Detroit at the Masonic Temple. And then the 22nd, there's no show, so we're gonna go visit some of our friends and have dinner with them because they're not able to make it to any of those shows. And then the 23rd, we're going to the show in Cleveland.
Are you driving to all these too?
We are driving. It's a long drive. Yeah, it'll be about a
Changed.
17-hour drive to get up there, probably.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
Yeah. And then on the way back, we're going to catch the show in Newport, Kentucky, which is basically across the river from Cincinnati. So, and I do have a friend that's up there that's in the Columbus area that's going to go with me to the Cleveland show or to the Columbus show. But I did go to the show with him in Cleveland back in 2019, which to me is probably the best set list of any Avid show I've ever
Yeah,
been to. I was like, cannot believe all the
you
deep
said
cuts
pretty
they
good.
were throwing out there.
Let's talk about it a little bit. What songs did they play in that show that you just don't hear anymore, or that often?
Yeah. So they played Matrimony, which
I
is
got
one
that at my
that's,
first show,
did
Matrimony.
you?
I did.
Well, it's not that common, so you got lucky that
Yeah,
first show then.
I love what I heard. I'm like, whoa, this one definitely is not played that.
Yeah. And then they played The Weight of Lies, which that was the first time I had ever heard Weight of Lies. So that was the first time for me. And they still don't play that one a whole lot. It's
No,
always special to get that one.
definitely. They should play that more. But there's so many.
And
They have too many songs. There's so many that they should play more that they just don't. But can't
they
complain.
also played Pretty Girl at the Airport, which is
Nice.
a very beautiful song to hear live.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs to hear live, actually. And then it was the first time I'd ever heard In the Curve. They played that in the encore. First song in the encore was In the Curve, which, for the first time, I've heard it a few times since, but really special to hear it that first time.
I got that at my first two shows. How about that?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. They started playing a little bit more after that because, Seth would kind of start steering away a little bit from Ballad of Love and Hate, and he would
Yeah.
play In the Curve instead. But he's kind of gone back to Ballad of Love and Hate, maybe, but not as often as before, I guess.
I'm trying to think.
And then I played Late in Life, which is like one that I think it may be on one of the Guild vinyls, maybe. I can't recall correctly, but it's one that is a rarity to get in any live show.
Which one was that? I was talking over you. I'm sorry.
Late in Life.
Oh, okay. Late in life. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they did Bob Wills cover Stay a Little Longer, which was fun for me because I'm a big Bob Wills fan. So course, Willie is known for that version too.
Yeah.
So that was, and it's kind of funny because I'm actually going to meet with a guy that I bought the tickets for that show because I bought him from another Avid fan back in 2019 in Cleveland, a guy named Ken Colley. And to this day, I always give him a hard time about not, and he's a good sport about it. So we always joke about him selling those tickets. He says those are the tickets he regrets selling right there because
After he saw the set list.
after he saw the set list, which is strange because it's usually like you don't get deep cuts maybe as much unless you go to a multiple night run
Definitely.
where they're not doing as many repeats. You might get some deep cuts. So you never know. Like just going off to a single show, you may get a really
Just looking
cool.
at that set list, I see they played Bang Bang at that show. That's one of the, I mean, they don't play anything off of that album. Like,
Yeah, that was right. It was like 4 or 5 days after the album was released, so they were playing more off of Closer Than Together then.
I love that album. There's so many great songs on there that people just don't appreciate. I think, I don't know, there was so
Yeah,
much. I hate to use the word controversy because it's just what they were feeling when they recorded this album. But I love so many songs on there, and there's so many that I wish they would play that I know we're just never gonna get at shows.
yeah.
They're just not gonna play them.
I
And
really
like,
like Who Will I Hold from that album a lot. I
yeah,
like hearing that song.
yep,
And Sally's not Sally, Tim's other daughter, Hazy, her favorite song, Locked In or Locked
locked up,
Up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That one they play. That's one of the
Yeah, that one they
favorites they
play. That
actually
one's
play
fun.
quite a bit. Um, but I
So
want to
we're
hear
looking
like
forward to getting
I want to hear "It's Raining Today." Uh, what's
never played that one. They've never
no?
played
And
it.
there's another one that I love, and I'm blanking
Yes,
on
I
the name.
know which one you're talking about. Where he sings in a
When
little
you learn,
higher voice.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you learn.
Yes.
I imagine that's a hard song to sing live because he does sing in a falsetto a lot in that
Yeah.
one. But man, I love that song. I would love to hear him play that live.
Yeah. I like getting was it Better Here, Better Now? What's the other one on there? That one's
Better here, I think. Right?
Better Here. Yeah.
We should know better
I'm
than.
thinking Forever Now. I'm getting it mixed up.
Yeah.
Forever Now on the new album.
So yeah, we'll get into the new album here in just a second. We're running out of time here already, but
Dang.
I want to mention you're going to the Detroit show, right?
Correct.
I
Yep.
have to see if the program director from Rockin' the Suburbs Radio, Keith Jacobson, awesome guy. He's one of the him and Vic Maida introduced me to the Red Clay Strays because
Okay.
they were at the same show in Michigan somewhere or Illinois. I don't know. I remember where they were, but they were standing in line next to each other, and I made them like learn that after the fact. They didn't know who they were at the time, but I think he's going to the Avetts show in Detroit.
Okay.
So I should get you hooked up with him so you can meet him. He's a great guy. He
Yeah.
loves the Avetts, loves all this kind of music. So I think you guys could
Nice.
hit it off. So I got to check with him,
Yeah.
see if he's going to be there. But all right,
Okay.
new Avid album. I don't know if I've talked to you about it.
No, I haven't really talked much about it with you.
No, it was a long time ago that you were on the show for us to
Yeah.
talk about it. But tell me what you think. What's your favorite song?
Yeah.
Are there any
So
you don't like?
I did not care for Love of a Girl when I first heard it. I was half asleep, waking up in the morning, and it had been released that Friday night before, unbeknownst to me. And my wife came across it, and she's like, got it on her phone and like right in my ear. I'm like, what am I listening to here? No idea. But of course, I've learned, I've come to really love the song now. I love seeing it live. I
It's
think it's a great
great live.
song.
Such a great song live.
And like a lot of people, a lot of people say it's like kind of a Green Day. I think it's to me it's more REM, but it's like
Okay.
into the world type vibe.
Yep.
So I started liking that one, and then of course Country Girl came out. I liked it right away because I thought the video was genius.
It's great.
Um, Not Country Girl, I'm sorry,
Country Kid.
Country Kid.
Yeah. I knew what
Get
you
them mixed up here. Maybe I should make a Country Girl song. That might be a good one too.
Bonnie could sing.
So I like that, like, because the video, and I think it's basically a summary of their childhood growing up. It's a basically a biographical song to them, I think. And then when we went out to Forever Now, or it came out, they played it for the first time in Charlotte at the Love and Life Festival. So, I got that one on video, and got a lot of hits on that one just because it was the first time they played it. And so I like that one too right away. I mean, I had heard it before, because it had been released just before the
Sure.
for that show. So I went into that show, and then I've always liked Orion's Belt, and I was like happy to see that it finally made it onto a recording somewhere. I thought it might have shown up as a Guild single at one time, but I was didn't care where I saw it, so I was happy to see that on the album.
I love that song. I love the version that they put on the album too.
Yeah, and then I basically like every track. The one about the Broken Bones one is probably my least favorite on there, but I'll probably eventually come around to liking it more probably once they start playing it. They haven't played it yet,
The only
so
song that hasn't been played live off the album, and
right.
it is they have done the what is it? Never Apart. The beginning of that song where they do the harmonizing.
Yeah,
That is the same tune,
yep,
the same
it
broken.
is. Yeah, I remember hearing you say that on
Yeah.
on one of your shows, and I'm like, you're right. I didn't realize it until you mentioned it. So
Yeah, someone else brought it to my attention. I'm like, what? No. And I listened,
yeah,
I'm like, oh my God, it's the same song. So I wonder if they're doing a build up to play that live or why they haven't played it live. I wonder why. Again, a lot of uh you know, singing without but they do that stuff all the time, just singing a cappella. Uh
right.
maybe it's a hard one to sing live. I'm sure they'll sing it at some point. I thought for sure Red Rocks is where it would be played because it was
Yeah,
3 nights, but nope, no luck there. Uh, anyway, "We Are Loved" is a great song too. I love that
yeah,
song.
I love that song too. Yeah, it's and then 2020 Regret
Oh my god, that's my favorite
for
song.
that one too. So I've gotten them all because I've heard all of them because I've gotten them live, all of them except for the only one they hadn't played yet. So, um, and I was really happy at Red Rocks when they played Souls Like the Wheels because
Mm.
I that completed Gleam 2 for me. So
Oh,
for all the Gleam
nice.
2 songs. And then also you get credit on Magpie for it since it's the live version is on there. Plus it's just a really good song live.
It
I
is.
mean it's I like that song. So that I was really happy to get that. That made my trip to
So
Red
do you keep
Rocks.
track of all the songs you get, or do you use Tim's database? I
Oh
assume.
yeah. Yes, definitely.
So thanks to Tim for knowing that you completed albums and stuff like that.
Yes. Yes. Everybody sign up for November Blue database and do the Patreon version.
Those guys do a lot of work, uh, and man, they put a lot into it. And it's if you haven't been on there yet, get on.
Yeah.
I don't know what people are doing if you're a
And
fan.
because of that, I know that I've seen them in 21 states.
Wow.
Michigan will be the 22nd state I've seen them in. And then I've seen them in three countries, of course, the US and Dominican and Mexico. So
Look at you.
just
World
waiting on the
travel.
European tour now. So
Did you drive to Mexico?
no, 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 no. We're lucky in that
You didn't drive to
one
the
flight to
Dominican.
Cancun is only 2 hours. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And I know you didn't drive to the Dominican, so that would have been
No.
tough. There's no bridge that goes there yet. Uh,
No, absolutely not.
all right. So let's. What else did I want to talk about? Swept Away. Are you going to Swept Away when it comes out?
Yes, I think we have tickets for December 9th, I believe.
Nice.
So we have seen it in Berkeley
Right.
and we have seen it twice in DC. And I'm just hoping I go that they have the main cast, the same guys, I mean, I'm sure whoever they have are gonna be great in the roles.
I
And you
think it's
never
going
know,
to
you
be
could
the
get an
same guys though,
understudy.
isn't it?
But I need Wayne Duvall, the captain. He's my man. I need him to, he's my brother. He's my brother that was from another mother, I guess you could
Well, you'll
say.
see the picture that I'm using as the promo for this episode is you and Wayne. Uh,
Perfect.
and yeah, it's one you sent me that's awesome. And you guys are like twins. Are you his understudy for Swept Away? Is that like
No.
that's not a secret or anything?
No, but I did find out his second cousin is Robert Duvall. So
No kidding.
yeah, yeah, Wayne Duvall's second cousin's Robert Duvall. So
That's a pretty good connection there. All right.
yeah, I found that out. Yeah.
You're basically Robert Duvall's understudy. Eh,
Yeah.
something like that. All right. So you picked the music for the episode. We got like 8 minutes left here before
Okay.
this cuts off on us.
All
Uh,
right. Well, let me get my list out here.
I wish Ryan was here. We could have had so much more time because it's unlimited on the StreamYard that we use there. But
All
Ryan's
right.
busy doing vacation stuff and picking up his son from his internship, and like I said, he's romping
Yeah,
around Texas. So
that's important stuff. So
it
we'll
is.
give him a pass this time.
Yep. Free pass. No problem. Tell me about the music you picked for the episode. There's
All
some
right. Well,
special songs.
special song. So I figure just coming off this wedding event, we had to pick some songs or my daughter's wedding and her and her now husband, Tom, they picked for their couples dance song, they picked Colorado Girl by Towns Van Zandt.
Nice.
So Towns being a Texas guy, my daughter being from Texas, although she calls herself Colorado Girl, all through and through. She's summited every 14,000-foot mountain in Colorado except for two that are on private property.
Oh wow.
And that's like 50 something mountains. A lot of them are with her husband. They're real outdoorsy and do a lot of hiking and climbing, technical climbing and all that too. So yeah, they picked that song from Towns Van Zandt, Colorado Girl, which is appropriate
Like it.
um,
Okay.
as a couple dance. Then for the father-daughter dance, I believe I was so relieved I did not have to beg my daughter, and she brought it up. She knows the Avett Brothers, she knows their catalog, so she picked Father's First Spring, which was
Oh,
my choice, obviously. So
that's great.
her only requirement is she wanted to get it down to just 2 minutes. And she goes, I really don't want that part about the blood on the floor and the scream and the yell or whatever.
The best part of
But
the song, though.
giving childbirth and all. So I'm like, okay, so I had to do some editing and
Oh
edit
man,
that part out.
that's my
And we had it
favorite part
down
of the
to
song, for real though. That's too bad.
about a 2 minute version, so
Gotta
no
do what you
blood,
gotta
no
do.
yelling. So and then for the mother son dance, they picked a song called it's called "Loves Me Like a Rock" by Paul Simon. And so the same requirement there, they wanted to edit that one down to even less, like a minute and a half. That one was a little less challenging because the last minute kind of just fades out slowly. So I cut that off right away.
I'll be cutting that out too when I.
Yes. And then they wanted the part about being president and all that. They said, we don't want to get anything political going at our wedding.
Oh
So let's cut all that out. So we did that, cut that out. So those are three right there, that I, picked for this show just because there's special meaning for them this last month.
and it's your episode, so you got
That's
it.
right.
That's perfect.
And then the other songs I picked House of the Hurricane from Tanya Elizabeth.
I know.
Of course, the fiddle player extraordinaire for the Avett Brothers. And when I was at Red Rocks this past month, I did have the opportunity to go to the home show there with Tanya, and it was a hard call because he had Scott's art talk and then he had Tanya's home show. So my wife and I we divided up and conquered. So she went to the Scott art talk and I went to the Tanya show.
Those were at the same time.
They're at the same time, yeah.
Oh, that's like torture.
And as a bonus, Mike Marsh showed up at Tanya's show, so we got to hang out with Mike Marsh. Of course, Jim's there. Jim Avid is the roadie for Tanya for that show, and making sure she's staying on track to get to rehearsals in time. And so we got to see Jim and
Oh,
then
he's
Mike
good with
Marsh
stuff like
there.
that. That's the Jim's
Yeah.
good at keeping a tight ship.
Yeah, and I had seen Tanya at that same place the year prior. We went to
Right.
her home show a year ago there, same place in Morrison, Colorado. And then I had seen her also perform a solo show in Mexico this last time back in January
That's right.
at the beach. So I love her stuff. I got pretty much all her stuff on CD and vinyl and to see her live, playing guitar as well as violin and really good songs. So that's become my favorite Tanya show song is House of the Hurricane.
We're gonna lead off the show with that one. So
Yes.
before we
Okay.
get to the wedding song, so that's
Yep.
gonna do
And
that.
I have a good video of that one on YouTube that I got you can see the view in the background of where the home show was.
Very nice. More
Um,
song or
yeah, another song I picked was Later On by a group called Fantastic Cat. And I had the opportunity to see them in a very quaint environment. Basically saw them in a home show. The four main guys from the group, they all sing. It's like four lead singers in one group, and they all play each other's instruments. They rotate the instruments around. Um,
That's
because one of the members of the band, Brian Dunn, had performed at the same home show. These guys live 5 minutes from me. They have home concerts. They host home concerts. I host home concerts too. So we have like a mutual thing. And they had hosted Brian Dunn as a solo artist before, and then his group Fantastic Cat came through. They let them stay there when they played Houston, and so they kind of had a sing for your supper type event that their management isn't supposed to know about. And so it was basically 5 feet in front of me, four guys singing, and the harmonies, melodies are great. Very
that sounds
talented musicians,
amazing.
and they're from New York, so you may know of them.
Where in New York are they from? Do you
I'm
know?
not sure exactly where, but they're also pretty well known amongst some of the Avid fans that I've come across that really like them. They played CBS this morning, just like the Avids did
Sure.
recently. They played that a couple of times.
Well, I'll be
I think
looking them up.
previously.
It's one of I love doing this, having
Yeah, yeah. Check out fan. They're
stuff.
I know like some like people classify them as power pop, and I guess I can see that because they're so melodic and all, but songs are just great, and musicianship is unreal, and you got basically four lead singers up there.
Very
And the
cool.
fact that they can play all the instruments too and rotate around is crazy.
All right, we have 1 minute left. Do you have one more song?
Yeah, one more song is Bread and Water by Ryan Bingham. I love that song. I love Ryan Bingham. Love seeing him live, and that song's got the meanest slide guitar on it. And he talks about driving through Texas and putting the hammer down, getting through Houston because Houston puts them down or whatever. So I can understand that because you got to drive pretty fast sometimes to keep up in Houston. When the traffic is moving, it moves at a very fast pace.
I
People
bet.
like to speed through there. So
Oh, that's awesome.
so
Great,
so
great
that's it.
selections. Great
That's my
music.
list.
Jack, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate the time and the effort to get on tonight. Safe travels. You got a lot of traveling coming up. Be careful out there on the roads, and we'll hopefully run into each other one of these days out there.
Sounds good, man. Look
All right.
forward to it.
Yeah, Jack Poynor, everyone. Thanks again, Jack.
All right. Thank you, Todd.
Yep.